Conversations around a baby's sensitive skin have become all the more common within the parent community. And a baby's skin is inherently delicate and therefore far more prone to skin ailments. But unfortunately, the information overload around how to care for a baby's skin runs rampant. So to shed more light on some of the evidence-based, tried and tested approaches that are helping dermatologists, pediatricians and parents more effectively care for a baby's sensitive skin, we're joined in studio by a distinguished panel of domain experts. We have with us Dr. Prachi Saraugi, pediatric dermatologist, Zara Vialijani, influencer mom, and Dr. Dilip Tripathi, Regional Head for Baby Health R&D, Kenview. Dr. Prachi, Zara, and Dr. Dilip, thank you so much for taking the time to join us in studio. And Dr. Prachi, if I could kick off the conversation with you. For sake of some context setting and for the benefit of our viewers, my understanding is that a baby's skin is 30% thinner than adult skin. So it naturally requires special care, on top of which it's all the more sensitive to ultraviolet rays or less resistant to ultraviolet rays. How does that ultimately manifest itself in terms of the redness, the dryness, and the itchiness that babies often experience when it comes to their skin?
So yes, a baby's skin is definitely more sensitive because it is thinner. At the same time, the barrier layer is not well formed. Because the barrier layer is not yet well formed, the baby's skin is not able to retain the moisture for a very long time.
I see.
And it tends to become dry very easily. Also, because the barrier layer is not formed, anything that comes in contact with the baby's skin, it tends to irritate the skin very easily.
Sure.
Be it harsh detergents, be it, fabrics such as woolen clothes, be it wet diapers, be it extreme changes in temperature. The skin is sensitive. Whatever comes in contact with the skin tends to irritate the skin. Now, this combination of redness and irritation, it tends to make the skin very itchy and at times can disturb the precious night sleep. So definitely, yes, conditions such as atopic dermatitis are very common in babies, and their skin does require specialized care.
Sure. Well, I'm going to build on some of your observations and come to you now, Zara, because as the doctor just alluded to, sensitive skin conditions in babies in particular can oftentimes go overlooked or undiagnosed completely. And that can lead to prolonged discomfort, right? A disruption in sleep cycle. And ultimately, that, of course, impacts the well-being of the entire family, right? So how might you guide parents in such a scenario in terms of staying a step ahead of the curve when it comes to their baby's sensitive skin?
So I'm going to talk with my experience. I'm a mother of two. And the one thing which I feel is of utmost importance is to keep a check if some skin condition runs in your family.
Sure.
For example, eczema runs in my family. I got it from my dad, and very recently, till it didn't flare up in my daughter's skin, I didn't know this can be passed on. So I guess on my list, number one is to keep your family history in mind.
Right.
That's one thing. And apart from that, a few things as a parent which you can do is keep a check on seasonal changes. Like eczema flares up in monsoon and winters. Whenever the seasonal changes happen, you need to keep a check. Also, if there are any changes in the routine of your child, for example, excessive swimming or excessive sun exposure, all this immediately, affects the skin. And I guess lastly, which I learned from the experience when my daughter got eczema is to keep a, pediatric dermatologist in your list.
Absolutely.
Because generally, if anything happens, we go to the pediatrician, but
Right.
a pediatric dermat is very important. So yeah, these are a couple of points from my recent experience, which I can share with the audience.
Well, thank you for drawing from your personal experience. There is, of course, no substitute for first-hand experience. And your children are of what ages for the benefit of our viewers?
So my daughter is 7.5 years old and my son is 15 months.
Coming to you now, Dr. Prachi, I'm told that even everyday elements such as, for example, pet dander, right? Dust mites, the list goes on and on. All of these everyday habitual routines of ours can also further exacerbate a baby's sensitive skin. Drawing from your personal experience, how prevalent is this?
Definitely, yes, there are some environmental triggers, okay, which can lead to eczema flare-ups. Pet dander and dust mites, these are known allergens, okay, and they can aggravate eczema. Therefore, it is very important to wash your bedding regularly, hoover around the house more frequently, avoid soft toys. Also, harsh soaps, these are known irritants to the skin. They can strip a skin's moisture completely, and therefore, it is very essential to use cleansers which are gentle on skin, which are hypoallergenic, which are fragrance free, and they help to maintain the skin barrier.
And I'm told that even certain fabrics can cause a
Yes.
trigger of flare-ups. How
That-
much truth is that to that?
That's absolutely right, because there are certain fabrics such as woolen fabrics, synthetic fabrics. They tend to irritate a baby's sensitive skin. So opting for more comfortable, breathable fabrics such as cotton fabrics definitely makes much more sense.
All right. Well, coming to you now, Zara, since we've touched upon, seasonal triggers, right, and weather changes and what they can do to a baby's sensitive skin, how do you essentially, as a parent, ensure that that regime of protecting the baby's sensitive skin is maintained throughout the year, such that that skin remains healthy irrespective of season?
So I follow a skin routine for both my kids. Number one being I always moisturize their body after a bath immediately on a damp skin, because when you do it on a damp skin, it just locks in the moisture.
Sure.
So that's one thing which I follow for both my kids. And no long baths,
Right.
no very hot baths. And also going for a moisturizer which gives utmost moisturization, something like Aveeno, which gives 24 hours moisturization, because to get hold of your kids and to apply that moisture again and again is not practical as a parent.
Right.
So I look for products which, I apply it in the morning, and then I know my kids are sorted at least till night. Yeah.
You can rest easy.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Dilip, that leads beautifully into my next question. What are some of the ingredients that have those naturally moisture-creating properties, sir? And to what extent do they even feature in the Aveeno Baby product line and its formulations?
Yeah, I think before we go into the ingredients, right, let's look at the awareness which we are creating, right? So, like for example, as a brand, right, for specifically to manage sensitive skin conditions like atopic dermatitis, Aveeno Baby launched Start Early, Stop Atopic Dermatitis campaign. Now, this is purely to highlight the importance of power of a oats-based moisturizer, because it is helpful in managing better atopic dermatitis skin condition. Now, just to raise an awareness about the critical conditions, Aveeno Baby has also created a Guinness World Record for most pledges for dermatological disease awareness campaign by joining hands with 11,201 pediatricians, dermatologists, and healthcare professionals to pledge to prevent atopic dermatitis, early usage of moisturizers on newborn. Through a diverse product portfolio, Aveeno Baby is designed to comfort the baby's sensitive skin with products and formulations designed with selection of natural ingredients and evidence-based. And evidence-based is very critical out here. We are developing products with leading dermatologists, and our breakthrough formula combines soothing oat essence and natural colloidal oatmeal with rich emollients to soften and soothe irritated, extra dry skin. Additionally, our products, needless to say, are soap-free, paraben-free, and phthalate-free, which is designed to soothe a baby's sensitive skin.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Dr. Dilip. And I want to come to you now, Zara. Based on what we've just heard from Dr. Dilip, do you believe there's enough awareness in the parent community around these ingredients and how they can help moisturize, that baby's sensitive skin? Because misinformation in this domain runs rampant.
Absolutely. So I was, in fact, by my dermat suggested to use the Aveeno range. Of course, my eczema was very bad, so I had to use a little bit of medication along with it. But Aveeno is something I am using personally. When my daughter got eczema, the dermat suggested to switch to Aveeno. Now, because as a parent, I was using this range In fact, I switched both my kids because I was like, if my daughter is prone, maybe my son will be prone to it. So Aveeno it was for us. And we switched to the oats range. I was so surprised because I thought oats is only good for health, like to eat. And through using Aveeno, I realized oats are great for skin as well. Yeah, I guess a little bit more information as parents is required, a little bit more awareness is required that when we select a skincare range for our kids, certain things have to be kept in mind, like the ingredients going inside it. It needs to be natural. It needs to be fragrance free because that really irritates a child's skin. We all like good smelling products, but that's not great for a child's skin. So yeah, these are some of the things which I guess all the parents should be educated and be made aware of.
It's time for a short break, but our special feature, Aveeno Baby Presents, Your Baby's Sensitive Skin Expert, partnered by Times Now, continues on the other side. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching our special feature, Aveeno Baby Presents Your Baby's Sensitive Skin Expert, partnered by Times Now. Coming to you now, Dr. Prachi, we were talking about awareness, and the data seems to indicate that amongst children with atopic dermatitis, they typically reveal symptoms within the first year of life, right? Similarly, that's close to, say, 60%. Upwards of 90%, show symptoms within the first 5 years of life. So that said, the prevalence is also growing amongst the Indian pediatric population, as we just heard Dr. Dilip mention. If there is no cure per se for atopic dermatitis, how can it be better managed? Beyond what we've heard already, what more does that community of parents need to know?
So definitely the first step would be avoiding all the known triggers, as we already discussed earlier.
Right.
So be it harsh detergents, woolen clothes, everything needs to be avoided. Using moisturizers multiple times in a day is the key to manage eczema. The moisturizer, as Zara rightly said, it needs to be applied right after bathing because it helps to lock the moisture in. Also, it is important to look for ingredients such as ceramides, lipids, and colloidal oatmeal in the moisturizer, because these ingredients, they help to restore the barrier layer of the skin. At the same time, they also reduce itching, soothe the skin.
And that's by reducing water loss, I'm assuming.
Yes. It helps to reduce the flare-ups. It helps to reduce the amount of corticosteroids that we need to manage the skin.
Right.
Also, with the winter season coming in, I have a very important tip. Please invest in a good humidifier, because dry, cool air tends to dry the baby's sensitive skin.
Well, I think the last thing that you may have missed is, of course, seek the guidance of a healthcare professional, right?
Right.
Don't go into self-diagnosis mode.
Right.
Could I have you comment further on that, Zara, how important it is, to seek out a pediatric dermatologist, ma'am?
I guess, like I said earlier, it is very, very important. We all have this habit of researching.
Right. And self-diagnosing and coming up with our own answers and solutions. We're all talking to Google overnight.
Absolutely. And we're talking about our baby's skin. So we cannot, do a trial error on them. Because if they are uncomfortable, firstly, it's our responsibility as parents to take care of those tiny human beings. So we need to treat their skin with utmost care and not just try and test good sounding products. And that's where a professional comes in place, because if the baby is uncomfortable, believe you me, the entire family gets very uncomfortable, and the tiny baby is not able to communicate. So I guess like we take care of the other things like their weight, their food, their vaccination, with the amount of adulteration currently happening around with respect to food, air pollution, seasonal changes, global warming, so many things, I guess having a professional with respect to skin for your babies is also very, very important.
I think beautifully put. And that makes for a wonderful segue into my next question, which is to you, Dr. Dilip. I'd love your take on the extent to which Kenvue is looking to advance some of the science and the understanding around caring for sensitive skin amongst that baby population, sir?
So just to add on that, probably we should also, as Zara was mentioning, right? Skin is the largest organ of the body, so it needs to be taken care of, right? In terms of Kenvue, right? So what we are doing, our latest consensus recommendation, which is titled Prevention and Management of Sensitive Skin Conditions in the Pediatric Age Group Expert Opinion from an Indian panel via the modified Delphi consensus method. What it does is basically focusing on evidence-based consensus to help pediatricians and dermatologists manage sensitive skin conditions in children. Now, sensitive skin conditions such as atopic dermatitis, xerosis, diaper dermatitis, it significantly impacts the well-being of the baby, causing discomfort, emotional distress, and physical pain, right? This is needless to say, right? Especially from a formula point of view, what we are doing is we are also tying or partnering with experts in terms of recommending colloidal oatmeal-based emollients in xerosis, atopic dermatitis, as well as allergic contact dermatitis, due to the ability of this colloidal oatmeal to activate endogenous ceramide production, right? It also enhances prebiotic properties, and needless to say that it gives soothing effect, which helps restore the barrier as well as the integrity while limiting the atopic dermatitis progression. Now, early and long-term usage of this colloidal oatmeal-based emollient will definitely help in reduction of flare severity as well as its frequency, which is followed by reduction in the usage of corticosteroids.
Well, Dr. Dilip, I've got a follow-up question for you there because, Kenvue is facing a tough challenge in terms of it needs to raise awareness and educate not simply the community of parents, but the fraternity of medical professionals and ultimately connect the dots between the two. So how do you go about doing that, within the four walls at Kenvue?
Yeah, so we have a partnership with experts, with leading pediatricians, with dermatologists, wherein we tie along with them and then we come up with clinical evidences to prove that the formulations which we have, it respects the skin barrier as well as the integrity, right? So it also helps the expert to give ahead on their proposition in a emollient and especially on the emulsion base and the properties of why a moisturizer should be applied, and as doctor was mentioning, and when it needs to be applied, right? So for example, if you're having a bath, then immediately after bathing, you need to apply a emollient or a moisturizer so that you're locking in that moisture. Because that's some of the additional points which Kenvue as a brand, we are working with pediatricians and dermatologists.
All right, by way of closing comments, and I'll pose this question to my entire panel, and I'll start with you, Zara. For parents out there that are struggling to care for their baby's sensitive skin, what final words of wisdom might you have to share?
As a parent who has experienced eczema personally and in her child, I know it is really worrisome. But a couple of things I can say from, I can share from my experience is firstly, always consult a professional. Secondly, using correct products, quality products. Also, parents with more than one kid, you need to understand both the kids have different skin requirements.
Right.
So many times in an Indian household, we just get one product and we're like, just use it on all the kids, you know.
And there's no one-size-fits-all formula here.
Correct. So when we experience eczema with my daughter, that's when I realized that there needs to be a different product range for my daughter and for my son. So that's something you need to be careful about. Also having a consistent skincare routine.
Right.
You need to moisturize their body, like not only hands and legs. We just go like hands and legs and we are done. Like, so I am very, very particular that I moisturize their entire body, front and back. And lastly, I guess a little bit of patience.
Sure.
Because skin conditions take time to heal. And with all of this combined, it gets a bit easier to deal with all of this.
All right. I'll come to you now, Dr. Prachi.
So definitely managing a baby with an atopic eczema is not an easy task.
Sure.
It is something that tests your patience at times. All right. But remember that help is always there. Please ask for help, be it your relatives, be it your friends, be it the doctors around you, we are there for you. It is very important to keep on moisturizing the baby skin. And yes, as Zara said, it is important to moisturize the whole body. I have parents coming in and telling me, doctor, we have just moisturized the face. Is that not enough?
Right.
I have to emphasize it again and again. No, you need to moisturize the whole body. Please remember that this is a journey. Don't aim for perfection.
Sure.
All right. There are some days which are going to be hard. There are some days which are going to be easy. Please celebrate the small victories. Be it, having a peaceful night's sleep, be it having just a patch of eczema which has resolved.
Right.
Please remember that this condition does not define you, your parenting, or your baby. It is just a part of your story. The discomfort is not going to last forever. There are brighter days ahead.
What inspiring
Yeah.
words. And with that, Dr. Dilip, I'll give you the last word, sir.
Great thoughts, doctor, and thanks, Pooja. In what I would say is early intervention is very, very necessary in this case, right? So specifically, I see that moms or parents in this case start applying a moisturizer only when the conditions appear, right? I think, needless to say in this, we need to start early before other symptoms appear. And whenever you're selecting a moisturizer, see to it, read the ingredients. The moisturizer has to be a combination of rich emollients with colloidal oatmeal and oat essence.
Well, Dr. Dilip, Zara, and Dr. Prashi, thank you so much for taking the time to join us in studio and perhaps in the road towards ensuring that every baby's sensitive skin is cared for. A long road lies ahead. But conversations like this certainly make for a critical first step. Thank you so much for sharing such a rich range of insights.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, our special feature, Aveeno Baby presents Your Baby's Sensitive Skin Expert, partnered by Times Now, comes to a close. Thanks for watching.